Siapa yang patut beli Playdate ni? Dahlah benda ni mahal, lebih RM1,000 walaupun dibuat di Malaysia. Baik aku beli Nintendo Switch kan? Well, yes and also no, because I do believe there are legitimate reasons to buy this over the Nintendo Switch. Even though that is a completely different system, there are some nice appeals with this cute little yellow square handheld gaming machine, and I explain why in this review of Panic's Playdate. So this is the Playdate. It's pretty interesting, it looks cute, it's very bright yellow, and it reminds me of like the Nintendo Game Boy, which was released eons ago, and it's something that I grew up playing, which is probably why I have some affinity and some fondness for this form factor. So what is the Playdate? Well, it's a handheld gaming machine in this cute little form factor, and what is unique about this is this thing right here, a physical crank that are used by certain games. It may seem like a small change, a gimmick even, but trust me when I say games that actually use this crank use it very well, and it just adds a whole new dimension to the game, in my opinion. Another interesting hardware of the Playdate is the display. It's a 1-bit display, it is also a monochrome panel, and on top of that, it doesn't even have a backlight. So if you want to game comfortably on the Playdate, you need a light source to be able to see what's happening on the screen, so you can pretty much forget about playing a quick game before bedtime. Nonetheless, that's a good segue to what I like about the Playdate, which is actually the display. See, because this is a monochrome display with only so many pixels, developers have to get creative, and the result is you get some really creative games. The moment you buy the Playdate and connect it to Wi-Fi, it will start downloading the Season 1 games, which include 24 different games, including very enjoyable ones such as Cranking's Time Travel Adventure as well as Whitewater Wipeout. These two games really stood out to me. This is especially the case with Time Travel Adventure. I exclusively use the crank to move time forward and move it back to move time back to avoid obstacles and to get through the stage. Sure, the whole concept of time travel isn't groundbreaking in a gaming world, but that combined with this crank as an input device and the glorious black and white graphics really show that you don't need amazing graphics to make a game enjoyable. What matters most is how the game is put together as a whole. If the 24 Season 1 games are not good enough for you, you can browse through the whole catalog of games, which have over 200 different titles right now. Yes, not all of them are equally entertaining, but the fact that you have access to all of these games at pretty affordable prices too, it's a good enough reason to pick it up and not worry about not having enough games to play on the Playdate. Another thing that I like about the Playdate is just how smooth the user interface is. Like, I'm just gonna unlock the device now, press the menu button. Even that, the motion of it, the sound effect of it, there is sense to it. It doesn't feel like it's just put together randomly. It just feels very good, it feels very tactile, it feels very nostalgic, I suppose. Another positive of the Playdate is the form factor of it all. This is just a small cute square in bright yellow, so you wouldn't misplace it easily, and I can just put it in my back pocket without worrying. Yes, if you're concerned about scratching the display, you can just get this cover that you can purchase as an add-on for the Playdate, which is great. Speaking of purchasing the Playdate, that's where I want to move on to what I don't like about this whole system, which is the price. The Playdate retails at $199 US, which is already quite high in my opinion. That plus taxes, and to get it shipped to Malaysia, despite the fact that it is manufactured in Malaysia, costs about $265 US altogether. That comes up to about 1,160 ringgit at today's conversion, and that is a lot of money for this cute little machine. And I also like to circle back to the display of the Playdate. Even though I like how simple it is, the black and white graphics actually look great, the fact that it does not have a backlight really affects the usability of this handheld gaming machine. There is a reason why I use the example of playing before bedtime with the Playdate, because that is precisely what I want to do with the Playdate. So if I absolutely really want to play a game on the Playdate before I sleep, I have to switch on the lights, play some games, and when I'm done, I have to switch off the lights and get back to bed. And that is just a little bit too inconvenient for my liking. Some of you may argue that I shouldn't even be playing games before sleeping because how on earth am I going to get sleepy? But that is not the point here. I'm just trying to highlight the fact that this display, which does not have a backlight, is not very practical. After all is said and done, I still really adore the Playdate because there's just an appeal with this cute little machine. Sure, games that are made for the Playdate are not AAA games with amazing graphics or incredible depth, but what the game offers are a quick way to de-stress and just appreciate the brilliance of a simple gameplay mechanics. Do I think the Playdate is worth it? Yes, in certain circumstances, because having to pay over 1,000 ringgit for this machine is a bit much, and I don't think a lot of people can accept that unless you really just want a nice little portable gaming machine to fill your day, in which case the Playdate is an excellent buy, provided you have a way to get around the backlightless display. So that is my review of the Playdate. It's certainly a unique machine, even though I don't think it has a super wide appeal. Nonetheless, like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and always stay tuned for more good stuff to come here on this channel. This is Andrew signing off for Next Riff.